Welcome members. Welcome in Engage with Tech Market Analyst Meetup Group, which hosts around Silicon Valley, Boston, New York, London, Edinburgh, and Bangalore. Today's topic of webinar is facial recognition technology market. I'm Sumant Parimal, Chief Analyst of 5G Research. Happens to be side EC consultant also, analyst also. So today we are walking you through on most of the market aspects of facial recognition technology. So let me start with my first slide. The first slide is about introduction of facial recognition technology. What is facial recognition technology? So in a simple format, it is a facial biometrics technology which recognizes people as most humans do by their faces. So ultimately, it's a biometric technology, and we encountered many biometric technology earlier. So we are familiar with the biometric technology. The facial recognition technology are passive and contactless. That is one advantage of the facial recognition technology, that you don't have to touch anywhere like you do for the finger scanning. And similarly, often require no action by a person being recognized. So you don't need to perform any action before a camera can recognize you. It is a competing technology compared to other biometrics technology like fingerprint, iris, voice. So as I said, biometric technology is not a new technology. Since many years, fingerprint, iris, speech recognition, these technologies are used as biometric for identification and authentication of a person or personal identity. So to some extent, the emerging facial recognition technology is a competing technology of the traditional biometrics, as well as it is a complementing also. In next slide, we'll see how it complementing with the traditional biometrics technology. While other biometrics technology market grown up significantly, facial recognition tech is still an emerging market. So if you see the fingerprint scanning and iris, they have grown up in many applications. So the market has been already expanded for the traditional biometrics technology. But as far as the facial recognition technology is concerned, the market is still nascent and it's still emerging. However, it's growing at a very positive growth rate. So we will, in next slide, we'll see what kind of growth rate is there. Here, if I have to explain the facial recognition technology step-by-step format, these pictures explain it very well. So the first step for any facial recognition system is to capture the image of a face coming across a camera or a detecting device. Then they extract the information, like digitize it. Okay, so then it's comparing. It's assumed that the database has been already populated. Then matching. So this is the sequence. Another sequence, if you see here, is how the various faces in the facial recognition technology interacts with each other. So if you see the camera devices kind of thing, or scanning devices kinds of thing, is scanning a face. So a database, which we talked about in the previous diagram, that database is here. So what's happening once you are capturing the facial or biometric data of a human being or a person, or maybe even of the object, then it gets stored in a database here. So these database above this database, you build a learning solution here. Okay, so this is like recognizer. So you need to train this recognizer model further with lot of machine learning techniques and algorithms and data, associated data. So here, if you see, that entire recognizer model is getting trained by using platform like OpenCV or Python. Here I'm talking about. Now, based on these trained data, what's happened that the facial comparison or matching gets performed. So here you can see matching is going on, which is nothing but recognition. So once the identity get matched with the nearest store database here, then you finish the recognition. I mean, the system recognizes a person. So this is how it works in the various phases. And now all these phases are market segment for you. So suppose if you are an entrepreneur, so this could be one market segment for you, working on the scanning system and feeding into a database. This could be that is training and recognition systems. Could be one more market segment for you. You may operate in both the market segment, or you may operate in one of these. Similarly, the recognition itself may be a market segment for you, depending on what kind of solution you are working about. So I mean to say, either you can be an end-to-end solution provider in the facial recognition technology space, gathering all these three phases, catering to all these three phases, or you can develop your domain or understanding and technology either in any one of these one or maybe of the two of these phases. So what I mean to say, you have the immense opportunity to align with the emerging market. So in next slide, I'm going to walk you through the video which introduces you the basics of facial technologies.
Calculates the distance between major structural pieces like your nose and your eyes. It could also take into account the width and curves of your face or the depth of your eye sockets. These measurements are converted to a numerical code called your face print. Once a computer knows your face print, it looks in its database of images that have already gone through the process to see if it can find any matching codes. Voila, facial recognition. Facial recognition was developed using 2D images. Since they can't take depth into account, 2D systems really rely on the distances between your facial features or landmarks. But angles and lighting can cause bad readings. The distance between your eyes and your nose looks very different in a straight-on image versus a profile pic. Some systems address this issue by mapping a 2D image onto a 3D head and undoing the rotation. 3D cameras sense depth by projecting invisible light onto a face and using sensors to capture the distance of various points of that light from the camera itself. Apple's Face ID on current iPhones use 30,000 infrared dots to line the contours of your face. Thanks to the extra depth measurements, 3D images aren't as easily fooled by angles, but can still be defeated by different expressions or wearing glasses or growing facial hair. A new tech called skin texture analysis could help with that. It still measures the distance between landmarks, but the scale is much, much smaller. It actually measures the distance between pores. Skin texture analysis is pretty new, but it could eventually be so precise as to reliably tell the difference between twins.
Yeah, so this is like an introduction of facial recognition technology. With that, we'll move to the next slide. What are the various market dynamics of facial recognition technology? The first point here is existing authentication and entity verification market to be redefined by facial recognition. So earlier, like you have the biometrics based authentication and identity verification technologies. Now this entire segment is getting redefined by facial recognition technology, because many of the existing biometric technology is going to be replaced by the new or enhance facial recognition technology, but in some places it's going to be redefined in terms of a mix of the existing biometric technology plus emerging facial recognition technology. So in next slide we will see how this mixing is happening. I mean, next point we will see how this mixing is happening. So this is the point here: traditional biometric market to align with facial recognition, which will lead to the biometrics. So biometrics is biometrics. When I say X here, this X. So X is extension, right? So facial recognition in collaboration with the existing biometric technology like iris, the finger scanning, voice recognition, they can offer extra security feature, extra safety feature in terms of the validation or authentication. So that's what, if these all technologies are combined, the existing biometrics technology as well as the emerging facial recognition technology, then we are calling it biometric mix solution or biometrics, right? So we are mixing the various biometric solutions for better access control, authentication, or entity control. Next point here is, with facial recognition, biometric tech-based market to expand from mere identity authentication to mainstream business enabling technology. So now, earlier what was happening, almost all facial recognition technology were ideally they were limited into role as far as wherever the identity and authentication were concerned. They were not into the customer experience management. They were not into the say the fraud management, or the retailing side of it, or say the medical side, medical industry. Now what's happening that with facial recognition, its application, the biometric technology application is moving into mainstream business, where you are directly enabling or empowering the customers, or you're directly empowering your users, consumers. Next point is, government, transportation, military, and defense are the largest contributors to the global facial recognition market growth. So if you see where the growth is coming from, the growth is coming from government sector, transportation sector, military, defense. So what is the growth forecast? By 2022, the global financial recognition market is projected to generate an estimated 9.6 billion in revenue with a CAGR of 21.3%. So if you see, the market size is very big. It's going to be 10 billion USD market size in next 2-3 years, and the growth rate of financial recognition technology is also decent. So what is the next dynamic? Financial recognition technology is going to be a battlefield of innovation among tech biggies like Facebook. Facebook had DeepFace, Google FaceNet, Microsoft Azure Face API, Amazon Recognition, IBM Watson Visual Recognition, and the Apple Face ID. So now among these tech biggies, facial recognition technology, what I like to say that the Google FaceNet is the proprietary. I think recently they have opened it, made it open source, and to some extent DeepFace may not be open right now, but at least some sort of a Facebook API are getting open for the developer, which can be used for some kind of photo identification or the face identification. Similarly, the Microsoft Azure Face API is now, it's a proprietary technology of the Microsoft, which you can use for any of your application as far as the face recognition is concerned. Amazon has launched its own platform. It's again proprietary platform. It's called Recognition. IBM Watson visual recognition is another example of proprietary face recognition platform. And then Apple Face ID is again proprietary, and that is very especially used for enabling the Apple devices like iPhone and iPad and say like Apple Note. notebook. So OpenFace is an source. OpenFace is an open source deep learning facial recognition model, which is emerging very fast, and this is also coming very popular with the developers. So now more popular face recognition platform is Face Plus Plus. So these Face Plus Plus has been started by Chinese startup McVie, and which has emerged as the world's largest face recognition technology platform used by more than 300,000 developers in around 150 plus countries to identify faces. So I think with this market dynamics, I think we missed one previous slide. Let me quickly cover one previous slide also. These are like related with drivers.
So drivers takes an image and
So drivers and barriers of facial recognition technology. So drivers are rising demand for surveillance and systems for enhancing safety and security, and of course the smart city projects. So smart city projects are one of the biggest drivers. Apart from that, general security concern, safety of the people. Due to that, the surveillance system need to be enhanced. So that is also driving the growth of facial recognition technology. So next growth point is increasing application in physical security and intelligence, including in retail stores. So intelligence gathering through facial technologies, facial recognition technology is also emerging a growth driver. Technology advancements in cloud services, 3D based recognition system, and facial analytics, edge AI, these all developments are further driving facial recognition. So what's happening that nowadays most of the facial recognition technologies are available through the cloud services. So there is a huge potential of cloud-based offerings, cloud-based services. So apart from that, the edge AI is also growing. So like if HD camera, you can imagine, which catches the faces or which take the images of faces. So in that HD camera itself, a lot of AI is getting built so that a lot of comparison or a lot of image capturing or image processing happens at the camera end itself, right? However, there are other softwares outside the cameras and hardware outside the camera. In next couple of slides, we will see also what kind of software and hardware are used. So increasing application in mobility security, like smartphones, laptop, tablet, drones, and robots. So now you have seen most of your smartphone include Apple iPhone, the latest Apple iPhones. They are now getting protected by facial recognition technologies, like instead of earlier fingerprint versus access control of your iPhone, now it's also respond to the your facial recognition. Similarly, the laptops launched recently by Microsoft, they are using the facial recognition technology for access control of the laptops and tablets. Similarly, drones are also mounted with facial recognition cameras and systems. So robots are also using facial recognition systems. So next driver is mushrooming consumer electronics sector, which is driving facial recognition demand upward. So consumer electronics, a lot of application you'll find across facial recognition. So even small devices are nowadays getting protected by your facial recognition technologies. The access control is getting embedded inside those smart devices. Increasing users in industries, various establishments like airports, hotel, club, and offices. So now you have seen across the US and other world cities, you find many airports have already installed the facial recognition. There is access control and security check-ins, or they are in process of deploying it or upgrading their technologies. So similarly, in hotel, you can have access facial recognition technologies to identify whether a repeat customer is coming, whether a VIP customer is coming or not, to find out what kind of person are visiting the hotels, Similarly, in clubs also you can have a facial recognition system installed to track the visitors and guests. In offices building also you can have a facial recognition system installed to find out who all are entering and what time. If any guests are visiting, so just by your facial recognition system itself, you can process the access control request for that guest. Similarly, employee attendance can be also controlled through the facial recognition technology. However, with these drivers, there are barriers also. These barriers are high cost of facial recognition technology. So technology and infrastructure of facial recognition, including the devices and softwares, are still costly. So you need a middleware also, that is also costly, and implementation and support costs are still costly. So other barriers are accuracy. So accuracy, in one of the latest applications, the people are claiming that the facial recognition technology is accurate to the extent of 96%, 97%. But, generally, if you see that if the facial recognition technology not accurately detecting the identity of a person, then, there is a risk that a person may be denied from some of the essential services, which actually there is their right to deserve. So a lot of noise gets created, on accuracy and the privacy of the facial recognition technology. So privacy side also, people believe that if they are being tracked by the camera, their identity is getting compromised or their privacy is getting compromised. To some extent, this concern is genuine, but the government is across the world are coming with a lot of regulation to protect privacy of the people as far as their facial recognition detection is concerned. And most of the cases, their private detail may not be disclosed to public forums. So it may be either be well encrypted inside a database, or if at all it is lying with some database administrator, then it will follow some kind of governance roadmap to protect the privacy of the individuals. So racial profiling is one more allegation where the critics of facial recognition technologies kind of put their point. So what do you mean to say by racial profiling is like if you enter a shop or on a mall, on a retail store, by facial recognition technology, you can able to find out which ethnicity this person belongs to, or the visitor belongs to, whether they belong to the Asian ethnicity, or they are Europeans, or they are Americans. So in a nutshell, that kind of segmentation, real-time segmentation, at least in the consumer sector or retail sector, is possible through facial recognition technology. However, this properties or this capabilities under coming a lot of attack due to its the racial discrimination kind of nature. However, though it doesn't discriminate, it just find out the behavior of the consumer based on their ethnicity, based on their demography. Next point here is, as far as the critics and barriers of the facial recognition technology is concerned, it's prone to the hackers. So a hacker can hack your social media profile or social media photos, and they can artificially build a model on which they can unlock your devices by just producing those photos, so that the computer or the devices get confused, and they may not be easily distinguishing between the regenerated or hacking attempt through the some kind of stolen photographs or stolen videos. So there is one concern where the companies and scientists are working for solving these barriers. We will move to the next slide here. What are the various market segments of the facial recognition technology market? So if you see, I have segmented the market here. I presented here only two formats of segmentation, one based on the software and services, another based on the use cases. So the other segmentation could be the hardware based segmentation, the geography based segmentation, or say the industry vertical based segmentation. Those we are skipping here. We are just picking up the two kind of segmentation. So if you see software and services based of segmentation, so you have 2D, two-dimensional facial recognition, three-dimensional facial recognition. On the previous slide, we saw the differences between two-dimension FR and three-dimension FR. And you have one more category is thermal FR, facial recognition. Then the demand for facial analytics software is also growing up, because after the camera, you have, after the facial data, you have the analytics tools running, which analyzes the various patterns of the and images coming and videos coming from the cameras. So facial recognition software development kit. So there's one more market. I mentioned there are many kits and tools available for developing the facial recognition applications. So those itself are one market segment. Apart from that, database, we thought the importance of database, because most of the facial recognition system generates the stream of data representing the various face combinations or face identities. So those are kept in the database. So there is a market for these kind of database, and even in the servicing those kind of service or management of those kind of database. Similarly, cloud-based APIs are also emerging. I mentioned one example of Microsoft Azure, so that you can assume as one of the cloud-based offering as far as the facial recognition technology is concerned. So cloud-based facial recognition solution are emerging, and so there are scopes of services across the facial recognition solutioning and integration also, and support also. So next segment which I want to mention here is machine learning and deep learning model development and training those models. So this will see also, because any machine learning and deep learning application, you need to have a robust training mechanism developed. So and the deep learning, the entire facial recognition is based on the deep learning and machine learning. So you need to develop a lot of many models and many algorithms for the various types of applications in the various industry and various geographies. Okay, so now when you come to the use cases by segmentation, so here are some of the key segments. The access control, you have one segment. Then attendance tracking and monitoring, I already discussed about that. Then surveillance and law enforcement, is very natural application of facial recognition technology. So other extended applications are emotion recognition. As a customer, I'm typically talking about the customer emotion recognition, or maybe the patient, or maybe a visitor, and face expression identification. Unique visitor counting is very important for malls or say shopping complex or stores. And interest recognition. Interest recognition is one of the key segment here, where whether a customer has interest towards a particular product or not, that can be captured here. Similarly, spoof detection, age detection. If one of the customer is entering a store, through this technique, you can detect the age of the customer, just for the profiling and giving the better products and services. Then gender detection also you can be done. Ethnicity detection, I already spoke about the product and object detection. So now if a Coke can is getting picked up by a customer, so face recognition technology will able to identify the Coke logo and able to identify or what kind of can, or what size can have been taken up, or how many numbers of can have been taken out. So entire checkout free retail is based on the facial recognition technology. Now, next use case here is automated restaurant case of and business intelligence. Apart from that, other use cases, auto check-ins I talked about in the airports, auto checkouts. It could be the hotel checkouts, event check-ins. If you are visiting any concert or any event, so facial recognition technology will mark your attendance or track you that yes, you have come to the event and give you easy access without even going through any validation queue. So auto KYC is emerging in the banks. Intelligent scenes is like the facial recognition technology are throwing the intelligence of visitor or the consumers who are coming in stores or even the patient visiting in hospitals. So next here is photo indexing and sorting, criminal investigation, fraud detection, patient health detection. So patient health detection, I said it's one of the very key facial recognition technology application sector segment. And in next video, there is one going video. We are going to see how the patient health can be managed with facial recognition technology in a better way. Sorry for skipping it here and there. Yeah, you see this slide, this video.
For millions of patients, taking medication is vital to staying healthy. Yet half of all patients do not take their medication as prescribed. At AI Cure, we use artificial intelligence on smartphones to visually confirm medication ingestion. We make sure that the right patient is taking the right medication at the right time. Biopharmaceutical companies, providers, and payers benefit from new efficiencies and higher quality data, allowing them to focus on those patients at highest risk of poor adherence or hospitalization. By leveraging intelligent technology on devices that people already have, AI Cure has developed a powerful, accurate, and scalable adherence tool. The interactive technology can be downloaded as an app onto any mobile device and is designed to adapt to patient behavior over time. The platform can be customized according to disease type, patient demographics, and risk factors. Improper use or suspicious activity triggers real-time intervention. The process is entirely software-based. No widgets, no custom hardware, and no change to the manufacturing process. With a portfolio of intellectual property and multiple innovation awards, AI Cure is transforming clinical research and the delivery of care on a global scale. AI Cure, connecting the world's patients to better treatment and better care.
So after this, we will see one more video where facial recognition technology is getting utilized in a store environment, in a retail store I'm talking about. So here what happened, as soon as a customer enters stores, based on the facial recognition, it got detected that customer is VIP customer, so it sent the alert to the salesman, and salesman comes soon to the customer, and they offer the assistance to the customers.
Welcome back, Maria.
So this company who has created this solution is CTRO Engage. So this is just a video provided by them to show how this facial recognition technology solution is working in a retail space. Now with this we are coming towards the end of our presentation. In last slide, we have certain recommendation for your GTM. So here are a few recommendations if you are planning to launch your any services or solutions in facial recognition space, or if you are already running and having a solution in this space. Identify most suitable tech market and use case segment to go for. Then your integration strategy with enterprise technology landscape and value delivery models need to be chalked out. Your positioning with alignment with facial recognition tech biggies. Remember in previous slide I saw how Microsoft Azure is working and how IBM Watson is working in this space, even how the Google open source technology is working in this phase. So if you are working on your solution, are offering. So you have to keep those big tech firms technology offering in mind, and how to integrate with them, or how to use them, reuse them as your development platform. So your services offering align with growth segments. So there are many growth segments, like in previous slide I mentioned, there are many use cases based segments of application of facial recognition technology. So you need to study those segments very well by performing micro market research to know potentials of each and every use cases and each and every segment we discussed previously. And we did not discuss all segments. There are many other segments which are there, which have been left. Okay, so if you see, so if you are going to launch your production solution in facial recognition technology, then you need to do a lot of market researching in terms of finding that which segment is growing and having a good prospect, as well as the long-term and short-term growth are concerned. So you need to focus on those segments first. Then your strategy to overcome facial recognition technology adopter barriers. So the barrier we discussed in the previous slide, and those barriers you need to find out a way out in removing those barriers if you want to increase the sales and adoption of your technology. So choose your business models carefully and keep it synchronized with other emerging technology. That is very important. You can't work in isolation with only one technology. So if you are working on facial recognition technology, so AI and machine learning and deep learning, the natural fit over there. Apart from that, AI, machine learning, and deep learning, you have to also think how you are going to collaborate with IoT technology, how you are going to collaborate with, say, RFID technology, how you are going to tackle emerging robotics technology. So there are many other technology area which you need to see how it can be synchronized or incorporated into your FR strategy or FR roadmap. So you just can't plan your FR adoption keeping in mind only FR view. So you have to expand your view. You have to see what all technology can be incorporated in solution, so that your solution becomes foolproof. I think one slide previously we left. I'll just quickly walk you through because there are some time. So this is like what all vendors are there.
A computer.
So key players in FR solution market. So these are some of the key players we listed here. So there are many players which are not listed here. There are many startups in this space, facial recognition technology space. Some of the video I'll walk you through as far as the vendor solutions are concerned. Some of them are startups, and they got well funded from the VC side. Some of the vendors listed here are established vendors also, like NEC Corporation. So what I mean to say, this sector of industry, that is facial recognition solution market, is populated with the big vendors, with the small vendors, with the startup vendors. So if you are working in a startup, you have a good scope to develop a solution for facial recognition technology. So with this, we are coming towards the end of the presentation. Now this house is open for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can shoot a mail to me. My mail ID is here. My mail ID is Sumant. If you see my mail ID. Sumant@starkcsi.com. And if you see the alternate email ID is sumant_parimal@innovative.com. With this, we are coming towards end of our presentation, and I really thank you for attending my presentation today. And hopefully you must have found it useful for your business purpose, or maybe for your project purpose. And with this, we are coming towards the end, and I would like to say, be tuned with our meetup groups for next webinars on any more and more exciting technology and markets. And with this, we like again to thank you and have a nice day ahead. Thank you.